Bismillah. The first thing that you are taken to account for on the Day of Judgment is your salat, is your prayers. Prayers are the most critical part of your daily life as a believer. And yet many of us, we struggle with our prayers, we often miss prayers, and we often neglect making up the missed prayers. We are in the blessed month of Ramadan, where it is a prime opportunity for you and me to focus on catching up on prayers that we have past due. The ruling on missed prayers, according to the vast majority of scholars of the religion, according to three of the different madahib, the Hanafi madhab, the Shafi school, and the Maliki school, all is that you are required to make up your missed prayers. And this is a requirement that regardless of how many missed prayers you and I have, we have to work towards making these up. This requirement also exists regardless of if we've gone on Hajj or we've made Tawbah for the missed prayers. We still have to make up the actual amount of missed prayers that were due, just like we have to make up the missed fasts and our missed zakat, because these are pillars of the religion. The second thing to note here is this only applies to those people who were Muslim, of course, when they missed the prayer. So if you converted to Islam yesterday or last year, and it doesn't refer to the time before you were a Muslim, it requires for those people, when we hit puberty, we become accountable for our actions and we become accountable for our prayers. So from the time of puberty until the time where we started to regularly pray our daily prayers, we have to calculate and make up those missed prayers. How do we go about doing this? There are resources available. You can go to the site. I'll post this in this link, www.tinyurl.com/makeupprayers. And there you'll find a spreadsheet. It'll walk you through what you have to do, how you calculate the missed prayers, and then how you can go about structuring your time to actually make them up. A couple of facts to know. You do not have to make up missed prayers in order if you have a lot of missed prayers. So for example, if you have 1,000 fajrs and duhrs and asrs and so on, you don't have to make up all of them in fajr, duhr, asr, maghrib, isha. All you have to do is you can do them in any, you could do all the fajrs first and then all the duhrs and so on and so forth. So that's one thing to know. The second thing to know is that according to the majority of the scholars of our religion, these prayers are supposed to be prioritized above any sunnah or nafila or extra prayer that you do. Yes, that means above salat al-tarawih and above salat al-tahajjud. So what's recommended is that one actually make these missed prayers up, that instead of doing these optional prayers, and according to some of the schools, instead of doing any sunnah prayers, others say you should find a middle path and a balance and do some sunnah and extra prayers, and other focus on missed prayers. Many of us, we make time for a lot of things. We waste time on television, we waste time scrolling, we waste time in so many different ways. But if we do not make the time to make up our prayers, we will likely regret it on the Day of Judgment. So focus on coming up with a plan to make up your prayers. Calculate how many prayers you owe, and then start to work on doing so. And lastly, because often people think this and they say this, there is one opinion amongst the Hanbali school that you do not have to make up the missed prayers, but this is not the majority opinion. This is the minority opinion, and we go with the majority in our ummah. So trust the majority of the scholars so that you don't struggle with this first question, this of accounting that you face on the Day of Judgment. And also just to mention that if you pray prayers, for example, in times where they're multiplied in reward, for example, on Laylatul Qadr, where that you get the reward of 83 years of worship, that doesn't mean that you have 83 years of prayers excused. Or if you pray in Makkah, which is worth 100,000 times your prayers, it doesn't mean you made up 100,000 prayers. This is something that amplifies the reward of the prayer, but it doesn't count for missed prayers. So focus on making up your prayers, ask Allah for forgiveness for those that you have missed, and calculate your debts that you owe to Allah, starting with the missed prayers, but make sure to do so for missed fasts and missed zakat, and don't lose hope. I know many people who've made up 5, 10, many years of missed prayers. It's totally possible, but we have to make the intention, and there's no better time than right now.